Dá-me beijo.
I remember when my brother first told us he was going into the army. I remember laughing about it with my family and thinking it was a joke. I remember him moving in. I remember getting really close to him and spending every day with him. I remember my brother asking my mom to help with the paperwork. I remember him getting sworn in. I remember not being able to see because my eyes were filled to the top with tears. I remember being able to spend time with him in the lobby before he had to leave. I remember hugging him tight before he left. I remember crying in his arms. I remember being pulled out of his arms and placed into my mom's. I remember watching him walk down the long, dark hallway. I remember seeing him peek his head through the large camouflage crowd. I remember crying more and more as he turned around to wave goodbye. I remember my knees being weak and ready to hit the floor. I remember when he returned, and that we partied with his friends and family. I remember enjoying the time I had with him and building a special bond. I remember him having to leave again. I remember him being stationed in a safe place. I remember texting him every single day when he was gone. I remember that one text I received. I remember running into my room and not wanting to leave, crying into my pillow. I remember reading the text out loud to my family that he was getting deployed to not the safest place. I remember being so scared and not knowing how to react. I remember acting angry to everyone and blaming everyone else for this. I remember crying every single night the week he was supposed to leave. I remember his deployment being delayed. I remember thinking he was going to stay in Kansas. And I remember hearing the bad news. I remember getting anxiety every night and waking up with nightmares. I remember feeling alone and helpless to my brother. I remember being thankful that he was fighting for our country, but upset it had to be him leaving. I remember getting really bad thoughts. I remember having to go to the bathroom in history while watching movies on war and just cry. I remember the day he got deployed and the day my big brother left. I remember getting the last phone call before he left, and I remember his deep voice telling me he loves me and to not worry about him.